Hi, my name's John Shull, and I'm being asked to make a statement in regard to the installation of home manager system. I had a rental house located at 1115 Old Lake Road. In August, my tenant made representations, this is 2013, made representations that he was the homeowner. And CPS then sent a crew out, which was Consert, a subcontractor, to install the meter, which falls between the thermostat and the air conditioning unit. Well, what happened is there was a miswiring done, and the positive and negative apparently were crossed, and it blew up, and it destroyed the air conditioning unit. And that began a fight, with intensive fight actually, with approximately about 30 or 40 phone calls, and possibly maybe 15 hours of work on my part to determine who was liable for what. And ultimately, the subcontractor agreed to a $2,000 payment for what they considered was their part of damage against the $8,000 that it cost me to replace the air conditioning unit. The reason for the high cost is because of the SEER rating required now and the different type of Freon that they use in the newer units, and this was an older unit, which required the internal unit to be done.
And essentially, you would say that renters should not have the ability to get the home manager system. It should be left up to the property owner.
That's true, but I myself was not aware that it was limited to just homeowners. I mean, to me as the owner rather than a renter occupied, which CPS first used as an excuse to say they weren't responsible for anything.
But now they're saying that it's whoever has the utility in their name. And so in your case, they were trying to get out of any responsibility by saying that this person had the authority to do it?
Right, had the authority. Yes, that's what I interpreted.
Okay, and so this took many, many calls. And are you aware of any other instances where people have had problems with appliances or with this home manager system?
No, I'm not.
Okay, and can you tell me a little bit about the air conditioner itself, its condition, and exactly what happened?
The unit that where it caused the fire on the circuitry was basically installed about 8 years before by a company called Airtran. And Airtran had conducted an inspection on this unit in, I believe it was June of 2013, and everything was functional and okay. So the unit was, in all practical purposes, was functioning perfectly at the time that they came to install the home manager program, thermostat or meter or whatever.
And what happened on the day of the installation of the home manager system?
Well, after they came out and installed it that evening, my tenant, the renter, called me up and said there was a fire outside and that the air conditioning unit had ceased to function. I had no idea the extent of what he was talking about until he took some photographs, and I came out and looked at the unit the next day. And what had happened is the transformer box had burned up, and I guess we were very, very lucky that it didn't go through the circuitry into the house itself and cause a major fire.
And it was after that that you determined that it was an installation problem and not necessarily an equipment, so it would have been the installer's fault, is what you believe?
Yes, that's exactly what I believe. And I believe they ultimately felt so too, because they did offer a partial settlement to cover the cost that required me to put an entire new unit in.
Did you put the home manager system back on in that home?
No, we did not. In fact, at the time, CPS had a policy that only owner-occupied premises would have the home manager program.
And the owner would have to give their permission, but in this case, your renter ordered it.
Yes, that's correct.
And they were able to do that.
Right.
And John, you did say that you have the home manager on your home, and tell me, have you seen any savings?
Not really. I'm what we call they have like a balance plan where they forecast what your requirements are, and then you pay a set monthly fee, and then that builds up a reserve for the months in which it gets real hot or real cold and you use a lot of energy. Well, my rates have actually, since I put Home Manager on there, have actually gone up. My cost of electricity is more per month now with that system, it seems, than without.
And you are watching your usage, obviously, so do you have anything that you could attribute that to?
Well, what I've tried to do is you have a choice of programming. Either there's a default program you can go with, and that didn't help me save any money, so I went on and I started looking at the graphs every day, and I turn everything off in the house because there's only 2 of us during the day, and then it runs at night. Well, I'm still spending the same amount of money on electricity as I was before.
And yet
I'm monitoring it.
right.
So I would say that I'm not exactly sure that this system is saving me any money or not.
Because you've had to, well, clearly you're getting so much less. I mean, you'd like to probably keep your house cooler, and yet
Yes.
you're doing all this and you're still not getting any savings.
Well, one of the things that I think may be a little bit misrepresented is, see, when you turn your units off, which you can do with the Home Manager, it causes a lot more electricity to bring them back on again. So if you're trying to adjust your temperatures within a certain time period every day, then there's a certain cost to doing that, of going up and down, other than just keeping them on at a very low rate.
Right. And you want to be comfortable.
Yes.
You know, you have one last statement to make.
I would like to note that since I had nothing that caused this accident that happened on my rental property, that I don't think I should, as the owner, bear any liability for this, which is exactly what has been done to me. Even though I've gotten a partial reimbursement, the total cost of mine is still $8,000. And I feel that CPS Consert should share a burden to pay that total amount to me, to make me whole. Because it's a cost I never would have incurred unless this incident had not happened.
And it was very inconvenient. You had renters there that you had to take care of them right away. So it wasn't like you could plan ahead. You had to go out immediately.
That's right. And they had small children, and that was a time when every day was 100 degrees. So I had no opportunity to negotiate, to go find a solution or whatever. So I took the bargain from the air conditioning company that had been servicing the air conditioner to resolve the problem quickly.